Good morning, everybody. I'm Eureka John, and you're at Eureka Street Crypto, broadcasting live on February 20th, 2022. It is what time is it? 8:56 in the morning. I need to reset my computer clock there. And yeah, this is my first show back from being at being in Denver, Colorado for DAO Denver on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then ETH Denver, which I didn't even go into the conference. I was so busy doing other stuff outside of the conference. And you might think I'm crazy or stupid or whatever, but yeah, man, I just didn't have time to go in. There was just so much happening, and yeah, so it is what it is. But there was just so much going on in Denver during that week. It was pretty cool. I drove all the way up there from Austin, Texas, and all the way back. Took 14 hours or so. On the way up there, I drove nonstop, and I completely got there with just red eyes, and not from what you'd think, but yeah, just from exhaustion. And the second I got there at 10:30 at night, I was hitting the ground running. The team was in the hotel lobby, the DAO Denver team, and I immediately had to do some graphics, and I was working 2 hours after that until 12:30 at night. And yeah, that's how it rolls, man. Whenever you're working together as a team. Let me turn down this mic volume. It looks to be a little high, so sorry if I'm totally blasting out your ears. All right. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I soaked in a whole lot. First of all, this is my video blog. If you're new here, this is my morning crypto brain dump. And every single morning, or I try to every single morning, I don't anymore. I was doing it every single morning for over a year, and exhaustion set in, and I was just felt it was time after 400. This is episode number 413 to just kind of settle back a little bit as I've gotten more involved, and because I just started doing this with a YouTube channel and a crappy stock webcam and just a computer mic. And I just was experimenting with AV and learning about crypto as I go along, and switched on the broadcast on the YouTube and decided to just document my learning. And that's what I've done. And it was just me back then, so I could do it every single day. But now I'm involved in a lot of projects. I'm involved pretty heavily in 3 different DAOs, and I have a lot of stuff going on. So it's a little more difficult and challenging with my 40-hour a week job that I do, which I'm on my way to phasing out. Then I will be back every single day. But yeah, it just became a little much. So now I can't do it every single day. I at least try to do this a few times a week and keep everybody updated. I was going to try to keep people updated during the week at DAO Denver, or ETH Denver as well, but a major equipment failure happened. I'm not the most mobile guy. I'm happy and comfy here in my little home studio, and this is where I create my best work. So yeah, I'm until I work some things out, I'm not exactly the most mobile ready reporter. I'm not the guy on the street catching the beat, so I do what I can do. But anyway, yeah, so it was fun, and I learned a whole lot about audio and visual production. I learned a lot about crypto and DAOs and Ethereum and everything like that from all the speakers, because I was the one in charge of live streaming for DAO Denver. It was an amazing opportunity. I got to work with some really highly professional filmmakers and videographers, and hats off to Damien and Troy for helping me and teaching me a lot of stuff that they know how to do. And yeah, I feel better off for it, and I've made such an amazing takeaway. And then after spending 2 full days watching all these presentations about DAOs and learning I thought I already knew a lot about DAOs because of my experience participating in DAOs, but I know so much more about DAOs now. It's incredible. As far as going into ETH Denver, that didn't happen because I was too busy doing follow-up production and data dumps and following around Troy Gaff, Troy Paff, who was creating some B-roll, and I wanted to follow him around as a professional director of photography and just kind of learn his process. So yeah, I foregoed, is that how you say it? My opportunity to get into ETH Denver for the opportunity to be able to follow around a real deal professional DP and learn his process. So I'll trade that any day, honestly. But that's just because I'm interested in audiovisual stuff. Anyway, so let's get to the crypto stuff. Let's look over here at CoinGecko and see what's going on. Let me pull up my stream. Okay. All right. So CoinGecko. Let me refresh this page and see what we have. So you can, these are your basic coin listing pages. CoinGecko, there's CoinMarketCap, which is the most prominent one, I guess. And there's like other ones like CoinPaprika, CoinCodex, and stuff like that. There's a bunch of them, and then there's some that are free like this, and then there's some that you pay for to get the extra analysis. You know, if you're one of those people that really likes to get down to the charts and look at different whale movements and this and that, and see how long certain coins have stayed in certain wallets. And there are charts and analysis and trackers for all that stuff, and you can pay and get the special treatment, and if that's what you really want to do. But I'm not really a chart guy. I'm just the type of guy that would open the newspaper and look at the stats in baseball and football, kind of see where my team is, see what the percentage is, and then just kind of hang it up for the day. Yeah, so that's kind of how I am with the crypto stats as well. But let's take a look here. It looks like Bitcoin was up around 42,000 all week, but now it's down to 38,000 again. Ethereum was up around low 3,000s, but now it's down to 26. So everything's kind of in a dip. If you wanted to buy any of this stuff, I'm not a financial advisor. I mean, nothing I say here is financial advice. It's just me, the dude behind the camera. I'm not a pro at any of this. Yeah, so it's not even supposed to be educational. It's just me commentating and talking about this stuff. So that's it. Entertainment only. All right. So Tether's a stable coin, so it's always $1. So it should be. Binance is 377.81, down 6.4%. USDC is $1, stable coin as well. They need to take these stable coins out of here. I know I say this a lot, but take the stable coins out of these rankings because it's just noise. Seriously, and the wrapped tokens as well. They need to take that stuff out. It's just a distraction. I want to see what the actual token projects, actual blockchain projects, actual token projects are, and not have the stablecoins be interfered. And they can put stablecoins in their own and check the market caps of various stablecoins and rank those. That would be good, but they don't. All right. So anyway, let me get over here. All right, so XRP is at 78 cents, Cardano's at 93 cents, Solana's 89.06, Avalanche 77.88. Avalanche is one of those super volatile ones. I know I say that a lot too, but if you really want to trade on arbitrage and jump in, get some dips, and then watch it jump up again to $120, Avalanche is probably your token. Yeah, so yeah. Terra is at 48.67, Polkadot 16.95, Dogecoin is 13 cents. Another stablecoin, Binance with Shiba Inu right below that, and then you have Terra. All these stablecoins, like I said, just distraction, noise. Yeah, they have their purpose, but not in these rankings. Polygon $1.52, down 10.5%. The Crypto.com token took a dive, down 16.2%. So yeah, it's a red bloody Sunday. Bloody Sunday. Not that I like U2 or anything, but that was probably the only U2 song that I've ever kind of liked, and that's barely like it. I'm not even giving. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about me hating on U2, but yeah, just one of those bands that's just played on the radio so much that's like the networks like really tried to force you to like that song, and nobody really loves it. But it's like Joey, Joey, I'm not angry anymore. Yeah, the radio just played it non-stop. And that another one is Just Another Manic Monday. Just another manic Monday. Oh, now I don't know anybody that loves that song, but they played it every single day, not even just on Monday. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know how I got on that tangent, but anyway, back to DAO Denver. I was running the live stream on it, and it was my first time to do anything like that. I have no idea how suddenly I got put in charge of that, but I gave the disclaimer. I was like, guys, I've never really done anything like this, So they're like, nah, you'll be all right. And I was like, okay, man, all right. And so I packed up all my home computer system and drove up to Denver, crossing my fingers that it would start when I got there. And it did, and everything ended up okay. And as far as live streams go, I've seen other live events. And let me pull up DAOdenver.org just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. As far as any live stream events go, I've seen other ones that stream live. For instance, like all the mouse belt stuff that they put out. I can't remember the name of their conferences. And other conferences, I've participated in online streaming. And yeah, man, I would say that it went pretty par for the course from any other events that I've seen as far as the live stream is concerned. As far as the actual event, I think it went super well. Yes, the live stream did have some dropping here and there, but those are things that were out of my control. Yeah, I tried to keep up with the titles, with what speaker is speaking at that time. I got to give myself a pat on the back. I got to say, I'm very happy with how it went. So yeah, this was DAO Denver. We'll be uploading a lot of the different footage. It was at this place, Temple Bar in Denver. It was it was a very impressive nightclub, to say the least. Like 21-year-old me would have been all about this if they would have played like some Nitzareb, Depeche Mode, New Order, all that old school new wave stuff. They were instead playing more dead-mousey type of stuff later on, from what I understand. That's kind of what they regularly play, but that's what DJs really play now anyway, right? So I don't know. I don't go clubbing. I mean, look at me. I live in a house in the suburbs, with kids. So yeah. But yeah, they had some great speakers. And even Charles Hoskinson from Cardano showed up, and you should have seen it whenever he came in the building. It was like Elvis had entered the building, and everybody swarmed down there, and Charles Hoskinson had 2 bodyguards and his girlfriend there, and a whole entourage of people. It was pretty impressive. And I know in the past that I have said that I've made fun of Charles Hoskinson, how he dresses like he's in his late 50s to early 60s, even though he's only 34. I mean, I'm 46, and I don't even dress as old as Charles Hoskinson. And and I was frustrated with Cardano and IOHK because I had an NFT stuck in one of their wallets, and I couldn't get any help from anybody. Not IOHK, none of the wallet people, nothing, because I could not separate this NFT out from the rest of my ADA because I wanted to cash in and give me and my family a little vacation on some of the Cardano that I held, and I couldn't do it. So I was frustrated. So that's purely anecdotal, my frustration with Cardano and with Charles Hoskinson, because all this was going on, no progress was being made in Cardano, and you see these images and these things in Twitter of Charles Hoskinson traveling all over the world, being, like a politician instead of a coder. And you're like, dude, get to work, let's ship something. But that being said, all frustrations aside, when I met him, and then whenever I heard him speak live and in person, there's just something about a humanity when you see somebody that changes somebody's opinion about versus somebody just over Twitter, and I got to appreciate that, man. I felt nothing but a good vibe from the dude. He was very low key, very calm, very personable. And that's probably why he's so successful. That and a lot of the things that he said on stage, I didn't agree with him all, but were very eloquently put. And so, yeah, I can see why he's as popular as he is. I just, I do wish the best for Cardano because it is very African focused, Africa focused. And I do believe the people of Africa need any help that they can get as far as squashing the centralized hierarchy that they have driven by the warlords, driven by the warlords. And Africa, in a way, could have a head start advantage because they are all communicating and using blockchain back and forth to each other from basically some villages, and huts and villages and stuff like that, and they're not encumbered by all this telephone wire technology and all this stuff that us in the first world have, like all this towers and telephone wires and everything that the institutions want to make sure stay in place right now. And it's harder to move in new technology where we are than in Africa, who are so willing to adopt it and so willing to use any other alternative money and learn about it than we are, because all they have are warlords basically in a lot of places, just to take most of the donations that come through to their country and then give them maybe a pittance, if at best. So yeah, it's I do support the whole idea of Cardano going into Africa and trying to change that system. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, to get back to the point, my opinion on Charles Hoskinson is a little less heavy. So yeah, anyway, so that being said, let's go to some other stuff. So yeah, I learned about DAOs, and more DAOs. I guess I'm going to be talking about a lot of the stuff that I learned for the next couple weeks, probably, is how long it's going to take, and a lot of the new stuff that came about. One of them that I'll start with, I guess, was MIDAO. And I thought it was MIDAO. It's MIDAO, MIDAO.org. And they help DAOs incorporate in the Marshall Islands. And you're like, oh, what does that mean? That sounds kind of weird and a little sketchy. like, hey, I have offshore accounts over in Barbados. I'm laundering money. It's just like, it just sounds, yeah. But it's actually really cool, And one of the people that I worked closely with at the conference was Adam Miller, and he is right there, and he is The Thriller is his Discord handle name, and he's been participating in DAO Denver for a while. He's starting his own business called DAOplatforms.io, and he's going to help people become DAOs, people and companies become DAOs, and that's kind of what the mission of DAOplanet.org is as well, formerly the DAOists, and DAO Planet it wants to be a resource base to help companies and LLCs become DAOs as well. So anyway, he was there, and I hooked him up with a connection to the Restream. So during the intermission, he was walking around interviewing people, and he did a great job. And yeah, so anyway, so let's talk about MIDAO. All right, so MIDAO is they help DAOs incorporate in the only jurisdiction that explicitly recognizes the unique structure of DAOs and ensures limited liability to its members. So they help DAOs incorporate in the Marshall Islands. Now, there's not a whole lot to the website. You really need to go into their Discord and interact with them and stuff like that. But if you want to kind of learn more about what they do, I mean, this article is really, well, not this one. This article, wait, where'd it go? Well, no, this article helps out, but the Shipyard Software.org documentation helps out a lot as well. So let's read this article here. So this CoinDesk article, under the new Marshall Islands new law, however, DAOs. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to the beginning. All right. In a bid to become the global hub for the incorporation of DAOs, the Republic of Marshall Islands has recognized decentralized autonomous organizations as legal entities, becoming the first sovereign nation to do so. All right. So now you may say, well, Wyoming, has recognized DAOs. Well, Wyoming's a state, so they're still under U.S. federal regulatory jurisdiction. And I'm by no means any type of, professional or even halfway competent person that knows about corporations and legal entities and business structures at all. All I know is how to operate a small mom and pop operation by watching my parents grow up and build businesses that are basically mom and pop operations. But they've done very well with that, and then, they've had successes and failures. And so I've seen them, start from ground zero and build up companies multiple times throughout my life. And they've always turned things into profit generating companies. All right. So, but they've never been multiple branches, and it's never been large worldwide corporations or anything like that. So it's always been one location, small mom and pop operations. So anyway, the new law essentially grants DAOs the same privileges as limited liability corporations, allowing them corporate personhood and the ability to hold real estate, done through a modification to the nation's Nonprofit Entity Act. DAOs having to register separate LLCs to fully operate is an issue for the sector's crowdfunding genre. Think Constitution DAO, Links DAO, Blimp DAO, etc., because registration makes it difficult to keep business decisions truly decentralized. Yep, that's right, because when you register something, you have to register it in somebody's name. It has to point to somebody. So DAOs are not just somebody. There is no one person in the DAO that can claim some sort of ownership. Ideally, even though unofficially in DAOs, there's generally one or two people that really kind of take the helm, and you look to them as leadership, and that just happens. That's human nature. And, you can never seem to get enough people to vote on governance, which I'll touch on here in a second. But anyway, under the Marshall Islands new law, however, DAOs incorporated within its territory would not have to register separate LLCs. The Central Pacific Islands nation is hoping to become a hotbed for DAOs in the same way that Delaware has become a mainstay for U.S. business and corporation. David Paul, one of its parliament members, told CoinDesk. The first DAO, he says, our laws have actually been tailored all of these years to be able to cater to this kind of service, right? So the first DAO putting the new legislation to the test is Admiral DAO, which has registered its company Shipyard Software, a decentralized exchange software developer under Marshall Islands jurisdiction. Shipyard software has nothing to do with ships and maritime ventures or anything like that. So we think of decentralized exchanges and DAOs as ships, it says Mark Laurie, CEO of Shipyard Software. They live in international waters, right? So when we're trying to figure out where to incorporate Shipyard Software, we realized, let's look at ships. And it turns out ships are all registered in the Marshall Islands, and that's what led us there. So, anyway, that's that article. It doesn't really give you a whole lot. So let's go over here to, first of all, let's take a quick little look at Shipyard Software. Go to clipper.exchange, and this is pretty fascinating. It's a like a Uniswap style automated market maker exchange that is focused on the little guy, on doing small trades less than $10,000. I mean $10,000 is kind of a lot, like $9,000 trade. Yeah, I mean that's in my eyes that's a buttload, but in a lot of people's eyes that's just pennies. But anyway, I will get back to the specifics on this trade, on this exchange here. But right now, I want to talk a little bit more about incorporating and DAOs and why Shipyard Software incorporated their DAO on the Marshall Islands, and about MIDAO. Sorry, MIDAO. So I always look at MIDAO.org and I see MIDAO, But maybe that's because I know Spanish and like, MIDAO, So anyway, whatever. All right. So why we incorporated Shipyard's DAO? Okay, so because DAOs can be entirely governed on the blockchain, most have not created legal entities. However, DAOs that choose to incorporate within the global regulatory framework are able to capitalize on two legal benefits: limited legal liability and corporate personhood. All right, so rather than solely requiring courts, DAOs operate according to a set of governance rules that can be selectively or even entirely enforced by code. In particular, this means that digital assets may be held in shared wallets without relying on banks. However, because DAO members live in the real world, they still bear liability for anything the DAO does, and any damages for which the DAO might be sued. As DAOs continue to expand, DAO members have grown increasingly aware of the need for a corporate entity to limit liability. Indeed, limiting liability was the main reason corporations became popular in the 17th century. So we're seeing a paradigm shift right now. Just as in the 17th century, they started incorporating to take the blame off of one particular person and have to prevent somebody being hanged. we are now shifting and creating different models of working together, and completely creating a paradigm shift in the whole business section. So here's another great quote here too that will kind of give you a better idea. In addition, incorporation bestows corporate personhood on the DAO. This is a concept dating back to early guilds, the Shranis, in ancient India, through which craftsmen used to speak with one voice as a community. So DAOs are nothing new. You know, the whole idea of a community being a voice and an entire community being an entity and a person is nothing new. So today, it enables companies to survive beyond a leader's death, pay taxes as one instead of as thousands of members, own property, sign contracts, own bank accounts, and employ people subject to local laws. It's incredibly practical. Shipyard's DAO consists of a multi-sig wallet with several signers. Over time, we intend to slowly decentralize governance to the Shipyard community. Now that it's incorporated, that can be done while protecting users. So yeah, some aspects of DAOs map neatly to existing corporate forms such as accounting and taxes. That sentence did not make sense. Okay, but incorporating a DAO is less straightforward than it might seem, mostly due to administrative hurdles. For instance, most jurisdictions require bylaws to be filed with the government in a particular format, but code isn't written on paper, and blockchain code may be unalterable because a lot of times you have to amend certain things. So also many legal entities are required to track membership with a ledger of names, while DAOs typically track membership with tokens. All right. Put simply, the existing laws that define legal entities never imagined the unique environment of the blockchain. As a result, incorporating a DAO is like fitting a round peg in a square hole. Without clarity, DAO members are left unsure of whether they are really protected from liability. With clarity, DAOs should have no problem adhering to existing laws. So from favorable jurisdictions to incorporate. So traditionally you would think, the Swiss bank account, is incorporated in Switzerland, Panama, the Cayman Islands, or Wyoming, right? So the problem with Wyoming, Wyoming made history by passing its first DAO law in July 2021. I remember the headlines. I covered it on my show. I was like, wow, Wyoming's, DAOs are legit, and it was a big moment, and it brought DAOs to the public eye. It made people in the actual governments and legal entities aware of the word DAO and what it is. So it's that point in which the geeks, all the nerds, suddenly went from code to the public eye, and they're like, wow, you're legit. And this has happened in this past year as well, with Bitcoin being adopted by large corporations and large hedge funds and banks and everything like that. So suddenly everybody's been recognizing Bitcoin. Now large corporations and entities and legal entities, with Wyoming recognizing DAOs, it's moved DAOs into the public eye and into the legal eye as well, which is a double-edged sword, because DAOs are moving from the less experimental space to a more institutional space. So now every single thing that people do in DAOs and what the DAO movement will be doing will be scrutinized with a more judging eye, I guess you could say. So anyway, Wyoming made history by passing the first DAO LLC law in July 2021. However, this law has several drawbacks. First, it requires to meet a 50% quorum. All right, so a quorum is a pre-vote in order to get something to a proposal to vote on it. So which is impractical in most elections, and more so when it comes to DAO user votes. Okay, so in DAOs, and I'll let Adam Miller actually explain this. In DAOs, it's hard to get people to actually come and vote and participate in those votes. Like really only like 10 or 15% of the people in DAOs actually really vote on a lot of these proposals. So in Wyoming, it requires votes to meet a 50% quorum. So half the people have to vote in order for a DAO to be legally recognized in Wyoming. You got to have a really active DAO, and you basically have to start kicking members who don't vote, which kind of, to me, goes against the whole idea of what a DAO is about. I think it should be open and to a lot of people, and to provide a lot of equal opportunity and stuff like that. But when you do join a DAO, there is a certain amount of responsibility that you have to hold and to be able to participate in there. And, voting, once you're a part of a DAO, is a responsibility. So let me just play a couple clips, in this interview with Adam Miller just a couple days ago at ETH Denver. So one second here. Sorry if I blow you guys out. I'm going to try to turn the volume down somewhat. Here, I'll start it right here. All right.
That are dissolving, others like MakerDAO thinking they're our next guest. So why do they need to become registered as an incorporation?
Sure. So really there's two issues that most DAOs are facing with respect to incorporation. The first is legal personhood. Legal personhood is what you need to own an asset in the real world, to hire an employee, to sign a contract with anyone, to sue or be sued. So all of these things, if you're a DAO and you've created a product or you have intellectual property and you want to protect your intellectual property, you have no way to do that today. You can't sue anyone. And you can't even have a contract that gives you that intellectual property in the first place. That's one of the problems. The other one is limited liability. So today, any member of a DAO can be held liable for the actions of the DAO and any other member of that DAO. So whether that has to do with securitization, tokenization, tax issues, other day-to-day issues of the organization, you could be personally held liable with your own assets for anything that the DAO does by incorporating, by becoming an LLC in the Marshall Islands. That takes away the liability from the individuals by forming the corporate entity so that the DAO as an entity is the only organization, the only thing that could be held liable in the case that you run into trouble with the law or you get sued.
Now, why Marshall Islands?
Okay, so hold on. Yeah, Adam really says it a lot better than I did, about the whole personhood of a corporation and of a legal entity, and then the difference between a DAO corporation, a DAO and a corporation. So here, she says, why Marshall Islands? All right. One moment.
Say, in the United States.
Sure. So the Marshall Islands has a long history of being a favorable environment for corporations. 1 out of every 5 of the world's ships happens to be registered in the Marshall Islands because of their favorable corporate legislation, a history of being a good place to register a DAO. In addition to that, the government is very innovative. They have a lot of forward thinkers who were extremely receptive to updating their legal framework so that it would work well for DAOs. In the United States, there are some LLC options. There are other options for DAOs. None of them explicitly recognize the nature of the DAO. So, for example, they require you to have a list of humans that is held responsible for the DAO and actually controls the LLC at the end of the day. And so those humans can break off from the will of the community, which goes totally against the ethos of a DAO. The other issue, for example, with the Wyoming LLC law is it requires a quorum of over 50% on any vote related to governance of the DAO. No DAO ever gets 50%. It's very rare to have 50% of your community show up to vote. Often it's 5%, 10% of the community that shows up to vote, and that's okay. And so that's a limitation of the Wyoming LLC, is that the day-to-day operations of any normal DAO make it incompatible with the way their law is written. So ours is the only incorporation-related legislation in the world today that explicitly recognizes that the DAO is a smart contract living on the blockchain, and its members who receive limited liability are blockchain addresses or their token holders or their NFT holders. It's actually written into the law. So right out of the gate, you get the full corporate personhood, full limited liability for all the members, and the Marshall Islands was simply the most innovative country that was willing to do this first.
What's in it for the Marshall Islands? Like, do they benefit? And I know, what is your relationship with the Marshall Islands?
Anyway, so yeah, you get the kind of the gist of it, about why they're in the Marshall Islands, and then why they didn't just stick with Wyoming, because of that whole 50% quorum vote issue. Let me go back to this article, to this documentation here on Clipper.exchange. So yeah, well, not that one. This, where'd you go? The docs. Oh, so shipyardsoftware.org is where I'm finding these docs. So the Cayman Islands, the problem with them is they don't explicitly accommodate governance by founding member, by the foundation. Sorry, hold on. It does not explicitly accommodate governance of the foundation by member voting. Instead, founders designate DAO members as the beneficiaries of the foundation and appoint directors who have a fiduciary duty to the beneficiaries. Unfortunately, this fiduciary duty can be interpreted in many ways and may not match the express will of the beneficiaries. So they don't recognize the entire community vote. You have to have people that act as the fiduciaries. If you don't know what a fiduciary is somebody that's legally recognized to act on behalf of somebody else financially. So, if you have a fiduciary, if you have a bunch of money and you won the lottery, you want to get somebody who's your fiduciary, because they are legally obligated to act on your behalf and to make sure that you don't lose your money instead of somebody who's just a broker. So there's a big difference. So, but the fiduciaries can be interpreted in many ways and don't always particularly match the express will of the beneficiaries. So that's what the Cayman Islands has. They have somebody that's necessary, that somebody needs to act as a fiduciary. And then Panama, that's another one that's typically known as a haven. Panama's on the U.S. Financial Action Task Force list, the FATF, of jurisdictions under increased monitoring, making that an unfavorable place to incorporate. So then you got the man all breathing down your neck through Panama. Even so, it has a flexible foundation law. Unfortunately, foundation must have shareholders who ultimately maintain control over the foundation, which makes it ill-suited for DAOs, because DAOs don't have shareholders; they have token holders. It makes it, and DAOs are working towards true decentralization, because that's part of the name DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. All right, and then Switzerland is one of the other four that are thought of to be a haven, and the Switzerland canton of Zug offers a foundation service, but the cost of formation is so high, more than $75,000, and the setup process is lengthy, 4 to 6 months. Further, the law's treatment of DAOs is unclear, and the council exerts a great deal of control over the network and assets of the beneficiaries. Similar to the Cayman Islands, Swiss foundation law does not explicitly accommodate governance of the foundation by member voting. So all these other places that people would typically think of as being favorable to DAOs are not actually favorable to DAOs. After reviewing the above options, none seemed satisfactory. Paying $100,000 to $300,000 in legal fees for Caymans, Panama. I mean, you better have a very profitable DAO if you're going to pay $100,000 to $300,000 right off the bat in order to incorporate. Usually, businesses and DAOs and companies, whenever they're just starting out, don't have a ton of money to throw down. Cost aside, if we compromise on sovereignty, then what's the point of incorporating at all? If we compromise on compliance, the rest of the world won't respect the entity. And if we compromise on clear DAO treatment, we can't be sure the corporate veil won't be pierced, exposing all members to liability. So Shipyard Software looked at the options, and they saw the Marshall Islands as the place to be. DAOs are also similar to the ships in that they spend most of their time in international waters beyond the direct purview of any sovereign nexus. I mean, the crypto space is international. People from all over the world are interacting today in DAOs. I mean, I've experienced this in the Bankless DAO. There are people worldwide every single day on the calls that I get on in the AV Guild and the community calls, in projects that I jump in. I'm talking with people in time zones all around the world. So, we spend most of our time in international waters beyond the direct purview of any sovereign nexus. So they began researching how ships incorporate, and they learned that 20% of the global shipping capacity is incorporated in the Republic of the Marshall Islands. So yeah, check out this Marshall Islands strong legal positioning. I mean, they are sovereign, internationally recognized state. They're strong, a respected financial judicial institutions. They're stable as a freely associated state of the U.S. So they do have the backing of the U.S. military, the reliable U.S.-aligned banking and financial system, and fast-moving, adaptable legislative process that can keep up with the evolving markets. So crucially, the Republic of Marshall Islands also supports innovation. The country recently passed a law, an amendment to their nonprofit statute that enables DAOs to incorporate as nonprofit LLCs with bylaws and membership that can be recorded on the blockchain. This fits all of our criteria. So it gives a little graph here, a chart, I guess, that shows all the different jurisdictions. And then they, at the top bar, they say sovereign, and then they have the X and the check marks, compliant, clear DAO treatment, and legal cost as the options. And Marshall Islands is the only one that checks all three of sovereign, compliant, and clear DAO treatment, and it has a low legal cost. So it makes sense. So anyway, In order to service blockchain-based projects across the world that wish to be legally recognized on the global stage, Shipyard partnered with the Republic of Marshall Islands local government to create MIDAO. And MIDAO, as a nonprofit, is founded to simplify the incorporation process for DAOs in the Republic of Marshall Islands while ensuring full compliance. So you don't want to get in legal trouble, you know. So MIDAO helps steward Shipyard's recent DAO incorporation process, and we expect many other organizations to follow in Shipyard's wake. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, I will get more into Clipper.dex and some of its features tomorrow because I'm out of time today. I'm already at 40 minutes. So yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down of these automated market makers and some of the reasons why Clipper.exchange is something that is geared for the small trader, but Clipper.exchange is a product that came out of Shipyard Software. And Shipyard Software is a DAO incorporated in the Marshall Islands, and through the help of MIDAO. So that's where how all this ties together. So it's MIDAO, MIDAO.org. Like I said, the website is not a whole lot right now, but it leads you to the proper places where you can get the best information about it. Adam Miller is somebody good to talk to on that. He is right here. Adam Miller, the global operations and co-founder. He previously founded DAOplatform.org, which is also his other current company, providing strategy and technology consulting and help others launch and operate DAOs. He spent 6 years in emerging technology research at Capital Group, a global investment management firm with over $2 trillion in assets under management. Adam started his own career investing in and founding several social web platforms, including Study Abroad 101, BS in economics from Massachusetts, MIT, and certificates in cybersecurity from UC Irvine, and cryptocurrencies from MIT Media Lab. So he's a smart dude. I've actually had him on my show. He's in episode number 406. And we just went through the basics of what DAOs are. He's very patient with me. So as far as explaining some of this stuff, definitely a little more well-spoken and well-educated in this, more educated in this area than I am. So I appreciate him taking that time to come on my show on episode 406. So go back to episode number 406 and listen to his interview. It was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it, except for some of my technical weaknesses as far as getting the show going at the beginning. But aside from that, I have so much stuff to cover. I'm going to have to cover Shipyard Software and Clipper.exchange and some of the details that I've learned about automated market makers, about what makes them unique. And I guess I'll do that in tomorrow's episode. And then after that, I have Discord bots and servers that I would like to go over, because there are a lot that are specifically catered towards DAOs. And there's some really cool bots and servers that specifically cater towards DAOs on Discord. Discord's traditionally a gaming platform. Well, crypto and DAOs have kind of adopted Discord as their default platform to be able to bring communities together. And as a result, there's been a lot of development on Discord and bots that have been created that are specifically curated towards DAOs. So I'm super stoked to tell you guys about some of these bots that I've learned about. All right, man. Well, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hit it. I'm going to spend the day with my family, and then tomorrow I got to hit the grind again. I got to get back to work, go back to my hour and 15-minute commute down to work, and then hour and 15-minute back. So 2.5 hours out of my day, which is why I'm trying to phase on out of my job and phase into this broadcasting and Web3 world. I do want to do audio, visual, and live streaming as a service for people and events and things like that. So I am for hire. I have this show, and this show is just my fun little show, but this DAO Planet and this DAO Denver conference proved to me that I'm capable of doing live conferences and doing live streaming on that type of level, and I'm stoked about it. I definitely am ready to go ahead and move from my fiat currency Web 2 job to my, or not even Web 2, manufacturing job, to my Web 3 career, DAO career. All right. Well, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Later. Thank you for making it to the end of this program. If you actually like this content, give a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more, just hit the subscribe button. I'm available on YouTube, Odyssey, and BitChute, and on all the major podcasting platforms in audio version. Spotify specifically. If you would like to follow and leave a review, that would help a lot. I am also available on Twitter at EurekaJohn1. That's EUREKA John, JOHN, and the number 1. My DMs are always open. Feel free to shoot me a message. Thanks again.